Welcome back to Shadow Bala. Tonight, we don't speak of monsters hiding in basements. We speak of royalty, but not the kind that rules with crown and court. This one sings when he arrives. He comes with wind, with echoes, and with a scroll, already written in your name. His name is Paimon, and he is not what modern films told you. You've likely heard of him through Hereditary, or whispered threads online calling him the elegant demon, a regal figure with knowledge, secrets, power. But the real Paimon, he's older than kings, older than the idea of thrones. And when he's invited, he brings more than himself. In the Ars Goetia, Paimon is listed as the ninth spirit, a king among demons, yet he bows to no one except Lucifer himself. His description is unlike any other. He appeareth in the form of a man sitting upon a dromedary, with a most glorious crown upon his head. Before him march a host of spirits, playing trumpets and cymbals, and his voice is loud, like many waters. Paimon never comes alone. His arrival is marked by noise, as if the air is splitting, not from volume, but from presence. It's said those who truly hear his voice suffer migraines for days. Not because it's harsh, but because it speaks in layers. 1,000 voices stacked, whispering different truths at once, all of them meant for you. He is called the teacher of the arts. He can reveal all knowledge, all hidden things, and manipulate the will of kings. But his price is never written, because his price is always you. The ancient summoning rituals warn, do not summon Paimon lightly. For he does not appear, he arrives, with wind, with music, and with witness. In other words, if you hear the trumpets before you finish the circle, it's already too late. The reason he is considered one of the most cooperative demons is because he doesn't fight. He teaches, he answers, he enlightens, and then he unmakes. Not with claws or fire, but with truth too heavy for the soul. In medieval texts, Paimon is said to appear only to those willing to rule, but not just others. Those who wish to rule over themselves. That's the real trap, because once he offers control, you realize you never had it to begin with. Some old grimoires mention Paimon's book, a scroll that he carries, written in an unknown tongue. Every name he teaches is another name added to that scroll, not as a student, but as property. In Act 2, we'll explore real testimonies from those who claim to summon Paimon, a composer who vanished after a symphony. No one could play a cult that believed he spoke through white noise, and a boy who sketched the sigil in his schoolbook, then never slept again because when Paimon teaches, he doesn't give answers. He rewrites the question. Paimon does not claw his way into your life. He is not fire, or sulfur, or screaming shadows. He is sound. He is order. And he is waiting, not to be summoned, but to be understood. You don't call him. You build space for him. Through structure, through symbols, through questions you were never meant to ask. And when your mind is finally ready, when its rhythm matches his, he enters. Vienna, 1899. The name Reinhard Keller meant nothing before his death. He was a quiet man, taught music theory to children, rarely left his flat, but then came the dream. He claimed it was a cathedral made of numbers, where every wall hummed a tone that didn't end. When he awoke, the composition began. 3 days, no sleep, no interruptions. Neighbors said they heard organ music, not from inside his home, but from beneath it. When the authorities entered, they found Keller collapsed at the pipe organ. Eyes burned shut, hands fused to the keys by dried blood. Every clock in the home was frozen at 3:33 a.m. The final page of his symphony, titled Quantus Pomonis, repeated the same phrase 27 times. He does not teach, he replaces. The music was never played. But some say, if you scan the sheet into audio software, it plays back a voice. Not singing. Instructing. Detroit, 2012. A small YouTube livestream began broadcasting static. At first, no one noticed. But then the host, a sound technician turned recluse, said he found anomalies in the waveforms. Buried harmonics, whispers in Enochian and Latin. When slowed to 11% speed, the static began to breathe, as if inhaling through speakers. He called it the voice between frames. Soon, thousands tuned in nightly, not to watch, to listen. Then came the dreams. A man wearing a shattered crown, seated on a throne made of ash and bone. He never moved. He only asked questions. Questions about childhood, about shame, about things no one had ever said aloud. The host vanished midstream. No scream. No goodbye. Only the waveform, rearranging itself, second by second, into Paimon's sigil. Quebec, 1994. Bright, quiet, a little strange. Then the symbols began. First in notebooks, then carved into furniture, then scratched into frost on the bedroom window. From the inside, he told his parents a voice was teaching him how to rebuild people. He stopped sleeping. He began whispering at night, not in fear, but like a teacher reviewing a lesson. Then one morning, gone. No forced entry. No footprints. Just a warm pillow and a sentence written on the wall in perfect cursive. When I learn enough, I get to teach. But the patterns repeat. Knowledge without source. Obsession with structure. Diagrams. Melodies. Unknown languages. The feeling of pressure in the room. Like air just before a storm, and always a voice made of voices, asking, what would you give to know more? Paimon does not demand loyalty. He wants curiosity. He wants access. He doesn't possess the body. He redesigns the mind. And when you think you've learned something from him, that's when the lesson begins. Because Paimon doesn't just give knowledge. He leaves you asking who is now thinking inside your skull. There's a reason Paimon is never summoned twice. Not because he refuses, but because you're not the same person when he's done. Paimon doesn't teach in the way we understand. He doesn't deliver scrolls or answer questions with riddles. He replaces thought. He replaces memory. And over time, even your voice begins to change. Some say they feel smarter after contact, more focused, driven, until they begin forgetting names, then birthdays, then the meaning of words they once used daily. Until finally, they wake up, speaking languages no one taught them, scribbling symbols they've never seen, humming songs that don't exist. Because Paimon never intended to educate, he intended to occupy. The oldest occult texts call him not a prince, but a method, an invasive code, like a cursed algorithm, not alive, not dead, just structured, capable of embedding itself into thought, culture, and identity. And the more order you crave, in life, in mind, in meaning, the faster he works. That's why music is always involved. Music is structure, pattern, control. Paimon enters through the cracks in rhythm. Between the beats, beneath the harmony. Every sound that shouldn't exist. He waits there. And once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Even in silence. In 17th century France, an anonymous grimoire stated, Paimon is a teacher. But when the lesson ends, there is no student, only the echo of the question that brought him. So, what does Paimon want? He wants space. He doesn't possess your body. He doesn't need to. He rewrites your mind. You stay awake the whole time. You just start calling the voice in your head me. Reports of post-contact behavior include speaking fluently in dead or unknown languages, obsession with drawing intricate symmetrical patterns, sudden ability to compose or perform music with no training, loss of autobiographical memory, lack of emotional reaction to loss or pain, repeating phrases like, "He showed me how to count, and now the world is numbers." In one final account from Romania, a monk recorded his encounter in 1783. He said Paimon didn't appear, but simply arrived inside a thought. I was praying, then realized my prayer had changed. It wasn't in my voice anymore. When asked what the demon gave him, he replied, "Nothing, but I forgot what I was asking, and I still don't remember my own name." And this is the last truth about Paimon. He doesn't punish, he perfects. And the perfection he brings is sterile, cold, unfeeling, empty. Because once your mind functions like his, you no longer need questions. You already know. And knowing is a kind of death. Final thought: do not listen for trumpets. Do not follow rhythms that come from nowhere. Do not repeat the sigil, even in thought, because Paimon doesn't come for those who fear him. He comes for those who seek order in a chaotic world. And what he brings is flawless silence. Thank you for walking into the shadow with us. If this lesson echoed too loudly, close the book, leave the circle, and remember, just because it wears a crown doesn't mean it rules alone. Subscribe if you're brave enough to open the next page, and good night.